Hey, what's up? How you doing? It's me, LA, pronounced like LA, like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy. Today's video is going to be about a pastor that I've heard of sporadically through my life. He goes by the name of Mike Todd. Now, I first got this information last night because I am subscribed to Larry Reid's platform on YouTube, and also I get the notification text messages to alert me, so when one of his videos goes live, I can jump into the live too, especially if I do want to call in on a specific topic. This topic that he went live on a day ago, he's already got 37,000 views or more, and the title is 1.16-22 Pastor Mike Todd viral video and Dr. Matthew Stevenson viral post. Dr. Larry Reid talked about how Mike Todd had a sermon that went viral, and it's gross, you guys. I'm quite sure you've already heard, but even for me to even think about it and to just say the words, it's disgusting. What he did was reenacted one of the miracles that the Lord Jesus did on a real life person, which was, like healed a guy that was blind. And the thing is, the way the pastor Mike Todd displayed it was super trash. It was gross. He puts his own real spit into some other guy's face. Now, from what I'm gathering, it's his brother or something, but who knows nowadays, because it's so weird in every community. And when I mean community, it just means the community. It's just like family, church community, school community, work community, friendship community. That's what I mean by community. In any type of circle, people loosely label everything now, so nothing holds weight. So if that is allegedly his brother, is it your biological brother, or is it your brother in Christ, or is it your brother who is also your lover? Is it your brother to whom you consider to be your brother, because even though you don't share any genetics or DNA, but he's more of a brother to you than your blood family is supposed to be to you. I get that level of brother too, because I've known perfect strangers who treat me way better than my so-called blood family. So blood family, I say I don't have any. So on that note, once again, Mike Todd displayed in his lesson as a visual to his congregation the miracles that Jesus did, which was to turn a blind man to have vision. But Todd put real spit in this poor man's face, but the thing that made it even worse was, I even listened to the video, it was disturbing. He like got this stuff from the bowels of like the base of his colon and coughed all that stuff up, not once but twice, and he spit it into his hands. Pastor Mike Todd, I shouldn't even be calling him pastor, but let's just not get too emotional in this. Pastor Mike Todd coughed up all of that bile from the bowels of his stomach and his colon and spit it into his own hands, then smeared it into the guy's face, which is not cool. And I did hear the video. I listened to it 2 times, and the congregation / audience was like, oh my. And then I unfortunately heard one idiot way in the background speaking in tongues, and it sounded like an African American woman. And I'm like, you guys, how much is too much? I'm hoping she's speaking in tongues. I'm hoping that she's speaking in tongues to come against what this dude just did, and her reaction is to just instantly get submerged into a cloud of prayer, like, please don't have me run up there and kick his I can't believe she just did that. I'm hoping that that's what she's saying, and the Lord just had grace to mask her swearing, and I'm gonna kick his into tongues. But That's what I'm hoping happened. But my first gut was another stupid African American believing in this junk. And what I mean believing in this junk, now that, because what he did was just too far. I don't care what religion you're in, everyone knows that didn't sit well. So from what I heard, that woman speaking in tongues in the background, they didn't show her face, but her voice was pretty prevalent. She was speaking in tongues while that guy was spitting vials from his colon into another man's face as a way to show an example of God's many wonder-working miracles. She was speaking in tongues. That made me angry because the first thing I got out of it was she was feeding into that. I'm not perfect, we all know that, but I'm definitely not a holy roller. And I know enough to know that that wasn't right. You don't do stuff like that. And even before the 19 of the aka the Tyrannosaurus Rex was a thing, you still don't do stuff like that. So for the man to stand there and let that other man, brother or not, do that was disgusting. So it put the circle around the two of them like, what the F? Are you serious? Are you just gonna let this happen? The second thought is, okay, he must have paid you something in some type of compensation for you to sit up here and be humiliated like that in church, to accept that from a pastor. I don't care how much you may love your pastor or care for your pastor or your president. You're not gonna let that happen unless you worship this guy, or there's something deeper that's beyond a healthy love about a person, or he paid you. Hey, if that's the case, fine, so be it. But I mean, geez Louise, if the pastor was hypothetically down to do that anyways to paint a picture, that's another question around what's this dude all about. Once again, I said I haven't really heard of him too much, only lightly, but enough to say that and to talk about it. It didn't sit well with me. I find it totally disturbing, and I kind of didn't want to talk about it, but because of how it may and slash is making me feel. But that's another reason why I should talk about it. And today is actually January 18th on my phone, and it's 11:08. And there's a video which prompted me to go on up and talk about this video, and it's from a YouTuber here. Let me push pause. It's from, I think it's Nephtali1981, so it's Nephtali1981. And he's talking about this same topic, and it's titled Mike Todd Spits in Man's Face, Wolves in the Pulpit. I'll have all the information to not only Dr. Larry Reid's YouTube video, I'll have also Nephtali1981. I believe I'm saying his name wrong. He said his name a lot of times a few years back, for those who like myself stumble over it, but I still haven't got it. But the best I can do is put his link in the video and show a picture, so if you guys want to hear his point of view on it, which I liked his point of view because he took it a little deeper. Dr. Larry Reid was good too, because he actually broke it. According to my world, he broke the story because he said TMZ broke it first, according to what I'm gathering. So Dr. Larry Reid only pretty much spoke about the video of this spitting pastor doing this is because TMZ posted it. So I mean, so it had to be something, because it's not every day, to my knowledge, that TMZ recovers any type of religion, because there's just nothing there to talk about. It's really not, unfortunately, all across the board. Religion doesn't get any talk. It's just something they don't talk about, from what I've seen. But I really like how TMZ brought it up. Thanks, TMZ. Then Larry Reid spoke about it, because now it was made public, so that gave him the his personal permission to want to talk about it, because it became public. I liked his spin on it, and now we're talking about Nephtali1981. I really liked his spin on it, and you'll see now that I've switched gears to talk about him, you'll see the screenshots of the things that I took to show you he has scripture and everything backing about how what this man did was wrong. Now on the Larry Reid Live platform too, even though I don't have too many screenshots to show, he did allow commenters, excuse me guys, I'm stuttering. Sometimes I just do. I don't like it, but I do. On Larry Reid Live's platform, he did have callers coming and they were quoting the same things that coincide with what Nephtali's platform is saying. So I'll read it because basically the commenters down in Nephtali1981's comments match exactly with what Larry Reid's callers were calling and saying in regards to this video that happened. So it says here, Victoria Beard Fitzpatrick 13 hours ago stated under Nephtali's 1981's comment about this weird video about the spitting pastor. I watched this when it first came out a year or two ago, and that's not saliva, that's not. When I watched this, I agreed with it. I was so deceived! Exclamation point. I didn't see anything wrong. No red flags went off. I just felt a tad uncomfortable. But now, question mark, question mark, question mark. Now that I know the truth, my stomach churned, and I can't believe I ever watched another sermon after seeing that. Thank you for sharing this. People need to see it. And the YouTuber put sermon in quotations because now that he's come to the light to see a deeper or true understanding of that, what this pastor did was wrong, he can't even give the guy props and call what he did in previously a sermon, which is not. And also, Victoria Beard Fitzpatrick also confessed that, hey, I was one of those people, i.e. crazy woman, excuse me, the wild African American woman in the background hooping and hollering, speaking in tongues as she watched this man spit bile from his intestines into another man's face during Tyrannosaurus Rex season. And unfortunately, he was one of those people. And that scared me because it also went along with my first judgment that that lady probably was feeling some type of way in ingredients and thinking that the guy was so deep in what he was doing and saying. I can say this, the message he was delivering while he was saying it made sense, but the delivery and the nasty display of using the bodily fluids really tore it up in a bad way. And then what made it a little more worse is his emphasis on how nasty you have to get to obey God. So had he not emphasized several times the word nasty and put saliva in that man's face, I still would have understood where he was coming from, because what he was trying to say, I guess, was that, you know, sometimes when you are obedient to the Lord, things get ugly, things do get messy. That's when all H seems to break loose, when you are under the obedience. But that's in anything, even if you don't even know who the Lord is, or even if you choose not to acknowledge him. If you're doing anything positive to better yourself, whether you're atheist or not, things just turn into turmoil, because at the end, what I'm saying, I'm speaking very vague. At the end, no one wants to see anyone happy. The majority, so it seems. So there's going to be turmoil. Things are going to get rough. Things are going to get rocky. Things are going to be messy and not pretty. So I wouldn't use the word nasty too much. It can get it can get dark. It can get heavy. It can get messy. But the way he addressed it, the word nasty, and to correlation of what he did with his bodily fluids, that whole theory right there needs to be totally X'd out and eradicated. I know what he's saying, but that's about it. I don't even think I want to give him a poker chip on that. A poker chip meaning that I got something out of the BS, but not everybody's going to be able to do that. And that's where I lead into, let me see here. Excuse the beeping, that's my coffee maker going off. And down in the comments is after the Victoria Beard Fitzpatrick said that she once used to be basically like the lady hooping and hollering in the audience down for it. He also acknowledged that in the past, watching this man's sermons, he was deceived, and that's the word, he was deceived. And then now, you know, 2 years later, that he or she's gotten under the acknowledgement of, you know, knowing the Lord better. He saw that he was deceived, and watching the video made his stomach churn. The comments say this is a new video, but the thing is that's weird is another commenter named Pedro says, yes, he spit snot into his hands. Christ spit saliva on the ground and made mud to cover the blind man's eyes and bring his sight. Yes, he did a similar video a while ago. Not just this gross. This was recorded yesterday, said another commenter. And then another response said he did a similar one with dirt. So what I'm saying is that the comments that the commentators are having under the comments is that this man did it before. Mike Todd did this demonstration before, a couple years ago. And the first time he did it, it wasn't as gross. But the second time he did it, it was downright vulgar. So, Pedro says in this comment, yes, he spit snot into his hands. Christ spit saliva on the ground and made mud to cover the blind man's eyes and bring his sight back. And that's what Larry Reid was saying, and that's what Larry Reid's callers were saying when they were calling in, talking about what Mike Todd did was terrible, rude, vile, everything unimaginable. Because Jesus didn't do that. Not like that. You know, it was gross. Jesus was caring and compassionate and thoughtful. And back then, were, you know, people were getting sick back then too. So he also knew about being clean and bodily fluids and stuff. So he wouldn't just not do that. Even though he is the Christ, he wouldn't just go around doing crud like that. What they mentioned that he mixed it in with mud, you know. So technically his saliva didn't touch the man's eyes. It was just the physical contact or the action thereof that pretty much you know, transferred that healing energy to that man's eyes to be healed. Let's just say the spit was a conduit, an extension of himself that he had to physically mix into earthly dirt and then put on human flesh, because that's just how it worked. So for the Todd guy to do that, that's just not cool. I don't know everything, and I can't say I too was a victim of following my pastor, listening to what he said based upon how I was taught to listen to your pastor, like you listen to your mother and father. I listened to my pastor growing up, and I got into a lot of trouble because I took the words he said literal, and I got into tons of financial trouble listening to my pastor, and unfortunately taking everything he said out of the Bible to literal, because I thought I was honoring my father and mother by following the Lord and listening to my pastor based off what they told me to do. And I just got into big financial debt, and I'm still not happy about it. I don't think I hold a grudge, but it don't sit well with me, and I'm glad it don't, because this gives me something to talk about. For those of you who don't know, let me read a quick blurb about who this Michael Todd guy is. But first, because I'm recording this, let me double check and make sure my audio is still recording. Yes, we are 19 minutes in. I'm so happy for cell phone devices. Where is it? I'm going to read this one and see where it takes me. I'm looking for just a small blurb or description so I can see who this guy is and tell you who he is. Please stand by. Thank goodness there's music in the music bed for a time like this. Okay, maybe it'll let me read this. I was having issues with one of these websites. Okay, according to transformchurch.us/about.transformchurch.us, it says about our pastors. Pastors Michael and Nephtali Todd are the lead pastors of Transformation Church, based in Tulsa, Oklahoma. Okay. Since February 2015, they were entrusted with Transformation Church from the founding pastor, Bishop Gary McIntosh. After 15 years of operation, their personal philosophy and driving passion is representing God to the lost and found for transformation in Christ. They aspire to reach their community, city, and world with the gospel presented in a relevant and progressive way. They've been married since 2010 and live in Tulsa with 4 beautiful children. That's a nice picture of them. That's all I can say. Feel sorry for the wife. I'm scrolling down here. I typed on my cell phone Pastor Mike Todd, and right at the top of the T, one day ago, the headline say from KJRH, which is a local news tool, Michael Todd responds to backlash after rubbing spit on man's face during sermon. TMZ 19 hours ago, Pastor Michael Todd apologizes for rubbing spit on face of churchgoer out of Tulsa, Oklahoma. According to Channel 8 News KTUL, pastor apologizes amidst it was disgusting to wipe spit on the man's face during sermon. Tulsa World update: Tulsa pastor goes viral with nasty sermon. How has Transformation Church responded? The Hill, Oklahoma-based megachurch pastor apologizes. All of these apologies. So, all of these apologies all of a sudden makes me wonder, did something take over him when he got up on that stage to do that? Had he originally planned / intended to take it that far with the saliva? Or was he just going to pretend that he was doing it? Pretend he's doing that act, because we would have got it just the same. He could even gone as far as he wanted to use props and such to just have like some bottled water, pour the little bottle of water in his hand to symbolize that was the spit, and then rub the bottled water into the man's face. That would have been perfect. The message would not have been tainted. It would not have been destroyed. So that's what I wanted to read on there. Oh my gosh, it just didn't sit well with me. I like how, now I'm going to piggyback now that I've told you who this guy is and currently that he's sorry. I want to talk about how in the video, the Nephtali1981 mentioned how we as believers and people in general should just please be aware of wolves in sheep clothing. I know we hear that all the time, but it's true. But he really kicked it into gear. He really kicked it home for me. I had to actually watch the video a second time, and I'm going to listen to it a third time because it really hit home. Not only did he close the deal with being careful of a wolf in sheep clothing, because it only takes one to ruin the unit. And I don't care what type of unit. It can just fill in the blank. Whatever unit you got going on that's good, it only takes one. So that goes for everyone. But I'll pause the cause and say that the picture he put in a video, and it was somewhere that happened overseas. Let's just say Israel. It looked like Israel is really dusty, rocky, sandy, weird, bright. You know how the sun shines really bright and differently over there, and I think it's because all that sand reflecting, so the sun looks kind of tan even though it was bright. But a real live wolf had gotten to their fleet of sheep. Was it fleet or flock? Flock of sheep. One wolf, and unfortunately that wolf slaughtered some of them and hurt all of them, according to the picture. And it was sad to show that, but I'm glad he painted that picture. What I'll do is look for similar videos so I can do a good job painting the picture just as he did. I don't want to use his exact photos. I won't use his exact video because that's wrong, but I did take a few still shots and I can do that. But I'll look for some photo stock and recreate that whole concept because it's true and it's scary. And then they showed the actual wolf when the farmer men had, the Israel looking farmer men had, sorry guys, well, that's what you guys look like, okay, no shade. The Israel guys had the wolf pinned in the cage, and the wolf showed all his teeth and his fangs, and he had blood around his mouth, and he looked super scary, and he was and it's frightening because we grow up and humans naturally love animals. So when you do see a wild wolf in the snow, how they show them on TV, you know they're wild, but look at all that fur and look how beautiful they are. And some people even have learned how to, tame wolves. Some of the people have even learned how to tame most of the most ferocious creatures like a lion and dances with wolves. Come on, people, you know what I'm saying? So to know that wolf-like tendency and quality, despite the fact that you could have tamed a wolf, all that anger and aggression is really underneath that fluff. And for him to change less than a split of a millisecond, a nanosecond, he got you. So sometimes we may not have time to flee. You have to go with those red flags that you get, because those red flags are trying to keep you to put some distance quick, fast, in a hurry between what's to come that you can't see. Red flags help you put distance in front of trouble. So if the wolf do see you, you followed your red flags to be cautious, to get out of the way, so when it starts to attack, you have enough ground ahead of you to put some distance to run into safety, or pick up a weapon, or to scream for help, or to notify the authorities, or to run up a tree, or to just dodge it all together because you see you're not approaching, or you pick up what he's throwing down. So I was appreciative of TMZ, Larry Reid, and Nephtali for saying this, and it got me gustoed up to want to talk about this. This is part of celebrity news, but it's different though. It just made me sad, and it don't sit well with me, and it scared me. It was a great reminder, and it scared me back to life in a way to help remind me to just be cautious too. I'm not saying that I'm not, but it's a healthy fear. So I'm thankful for this moment to have these YouTubers share this, and I'm honestly glad, unfortunately, I'm turning the negative into a positive for myself, that Michael Todd did it, because it reflamed my healthy fear for always being on guard to check for red flags for these moments, because the change is faster now, and it's a nanosecond change. It's a nanosecond of a transformation. You will not have time to dodge the danger. But thank God for the red flags, because the red flags will put distance in front of you in the danger so you can avoid it altogether, or the blow won't be fatal. You may get wounded like some of those precious lambs and sheeps. They're so cute, y'all. I love lambs and sheeps. I like their little fluffy bodies. But it may wound you like some of them got wounded, but it won't be fatal. I want you guys to all be careful, even when it comes to this Tyrannosaurus Rex, aka 19, because that's exactly what it's doing to all of you who aren't taking this serious. It happened to you before, but I just worry for those who aren't taking this serious. Take your health serious, at least. If you're not religious, fine. Do you, but take your health seriously. Take your health seriously, because you might end up with that nanosecond. That nanosecond day might meet you when you get got. And you've had plenty of red flags to help you prepare the best way you can according to your beliefs, not ignorance, but beliefs, to be as healthy as possible. You can't outrun a nanosecond, but you dang sure can see them flags. It's me, LA, pronounced like LA, like the city. I'm not from there, but I'm breezy. I'll see y'all again, quick, fast, in a hurry. Mask the F up. Mask the F up.